Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the Here and Now. And on this lovely Friday afternoon, rainy Luxembourg, we have my good friend and young aspiring entrepreneur, Ian Ross. And we're going to share a bit of insights into Ian and his life and growing up in Luxembourg. Good morning, Ian. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Thanks for having me. Very good.
Thank you.
So,
Would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
yeah,
Where you from? Growing up?
Exactly. So, my name is Ian Ross. As you said, I was born here in Luxembourg. I have three nationalities. I have the Luxembourgish, the American, and the German nationality. And I've been to local public school here. I've grown up here. I'm almost done with school. I still have about 2 to 3 more months to go. And currently, I'm trying to build up my own company, a marketing agency. And after that, if it doesn't work out for this year with the marketing agency, then I'm going to go to university in September.
Okay. And Ian, just from what I understand, you told me something really interesting. You don't go to school. You decided to do homeschooling.
Exactly. Yeah, I decided to do homeschooling because, in my opinion, school was not worth the time and effort because you had to be there at 8 o'clock. And everybody who's in the public school will tell you this, is that once you're in school, you're not really learning anything. Mm-hmm. You're more sitting there talking with your friends, playing on your phone. And once you're home, you have to study everything by yourself. So what I decided is I just cut out the part where I'm sitting in school and not doing anything. Mm-hmm. And I just learn by myself at home. Then I save every day between 5 and 7 hours. Okay. And I have more time for my company and more time for soccer on the side.
And just on that point about studying at home and being more disciplined, doesn't it take a special amount of discipline to be able to focus? I mean, I know a lot of young kids, if you give them the freedom to be at home, they wake up at midday and then they watch some Netflix.
Yeah,
I mean, to be that disciplined, what does that require? Is that easy for you? Or?
I think for me it was quite easy because when I was home, I was because then when you're home, because you're not used to being home all the time, then you basically don't have really anything to do. Mm-hmm. I guess that's what for most people. And then you just start studying, and you'll see once you study for your own, it's more of a challenge, and you're also much quicker. And I've never had the discipline issue that I will, because I wake up naturally at 7, 6, 8. In winter it's a bit later, in summer it's a bit earlier. Okay. I just wake up naturally no matter what time I go to bed. Mm-hmm. And then I'll be awake, and as I found out for myself is, in the morning I'm 3 times as productive as in the afternoon. Okay. So yeah.
And is there something that you could maybe share for other young, I'd say 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 year olds that you could say helps you to be disciplined and focused, to homeschool yourself?
To homeschool. Okay, so only homeschool, nothing else
Well, just the homeschooling, because I feel that it takes a lot of discipline to and maybe it comes naturally to you. Mm-hmm. But for anybody who wants to do homeschooling or is trying to find a different way in life, because I'm sure a lot of kids, they go to school and they feel like this is a waste of time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I'd love to be able to homeschool myself, but I don't have the discipline. I'd fail, or I wouldn't be able to meet my targets. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you can share from your experience that makes you committed to waking up and doing the work?
So what I can share, what I think is very clear, is that before you even start homeschooling, you already tell yourself, I'm going to fail, it's not going to work, I'm not disciplined, then then it's not going to work out. Yeah. It's like you're already telling yourself you're going to fail before you even started the homeschooling part. And then I think that's the most important step, because if you already tell yourself, okay, I'm going to wake up at 9 or at 10, it's as you want, you can do it whenever you want. Mm-hmm. You can also do it at 1 in the morning. Yeah. You just tell yourself, I'm going to do it from 9 to 12, I'm just going to do my school exercises. Because if you do it 3 days a day, 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's already more than enough. You don't need any more time. So if you tell yourself every day from 10 to 1 or from 9 to 12, I'll do it, and then at 9 you actually sit there, you put your phone away, very important, because you just turn your phone on airplane mode, throw it on the bed, put it in a different room. Okay. And then what I do is I use my laptop if I need to do research, or I have Amazon Alexa if I have some traduction to do, translations to do. Yeah. Exactly. And then because the phone is always vibrating, then you get a message from a friend, and then you never really start.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to eliminate all the distractions.
Okay.
For myself, the morning is the best time because that's when I best focus.
Yeah.
Then do the 2-3 hours, and then I'm good after.
Okay. Okay. And so, what was it like growing up in Luxembourg? I mean, do you see yourself as a foreigner with 3 nationalities? Considering it's German and American, right?
Yeah.
How did you ever notice any differences? Were you integrated well? Or?
I think I've never noticed any differences.
Right.
But also, I can't speak for myself before I was 10 years old because I simply can't remember. I would have failed to see anything different.
Mm-hmm.
But I've not really noticed any differences, especially where I grew up is Bonnevoie, and the percentage of foreigners in Bonnevoie is 87.5%.
87% of foreigners.
Exactly.
Wow.
So when I went to school, there were no. We were 12 people in class, and we always had only maximum 1 Luxembourgish person.
Oh wow.
So that means I never felt like I was the outsider. I think the Luxembourgers felt more like the outsiders.
Okay.
That's what I think. And then, but after that, I feel like a normal Luxembourgish person because I've been here to school. I speak the language like everyone else. As we would say, you maybe have the people in the north that are more Luxembourgish than the others.
Yeah.
But they don't really count. So.
Okay.
But yeah.
And what is it like growing up in Bonnevoie? Because I think for those who don't know Luxembourg, it's
they don't know where it is.
yeah, and also that we have the clinic there for the drug
Addicts.
Yeah, but it's for helping them.
Um,
They go and they get their needles and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a good thing that they do, but
it's not helping them get away from it.
Yes, but was it okay for you growing up in that
So,
environment? And
for me, it was okay because I think when you're a kid, you don't really notice. For you, it's like that happens. Okay, you don't really judge anything. It's how would I say? You see a person on the street just walking, and he has some old clothes on, and he doesn't look good. As a kid, you just see a person, and you don't really think about it. I think for me, because in school they only said when you find these needles, that was the first thing when we came to school. Don't touch them, just tell the teacher you found one. And as a kid, you just saw a needle, you went to a teacher, you found it, and then it was fine. They would take away, and you wouldn't notice it. And you would never think about it that there were actually people taking it because you don't even know what these people are doing. And I know from kids with their parents, they went home and they asked the parents, what are these needles doing in our schoolyard? And the parents explained them exactly what these people are doing, and those were traumatized for 5 years or something.
oh wow! So it had a negative effect on them.
On them, yes, because the parents explained too much in detail.
Okay.
And that is, if you're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, that's not what you should do.
Okay.
You should just explain, just tell the teachers, and you don't really explain why you shouldn't touch them or something. You just tell them don't touch it and just do this.
Yeah.
And otherwise, that was the one thing in Bonnevoie. Otherwise, school was pretty similar, I guess, to every other school. We have the same teachers, we have the same breaks.
Okay.
It's only we have different people in school because that back then Bonnevoie wasn't as rich as it is now.
Okay.
And you can see because we have the 3 different levels of high school. You have Classique, Technique, and Modulaire. And Classique is the highest one, you could say. It's the most difficult one. They have Technique and Modulaire. And in Bonnevoie, you basically had nobody who went to Classique. I think there were 5 people in our whole grade. And then you have other schools where 50% of the people go to Classique.
Okay.
So that's the.
And what challenges did you face growing up, either in the environment or you? Was there anything that we found really, really great or really, really difficult?
You mean great now?
Like
Environment
growing
at home
up
or in school?
in your childhood.
In my childhood, what I found, I think.
What stood out for you?
What stood out?
When you look back, you think, wow, that was difficult. That was really great.
I think at the time for me, I didn't really have anything that was difficult. Especially not school-wise, because my grandparents were both teachers. And I've lived basically always 2 months in summer. I always went there, so they always taught me. That was basically forced to learn maths, languages, everything. So when I came to school, I was already 3 years ahead, and I just went there, wrote the test, and never studied until 6th grade. So in school, I never had really any difficulties. And otherwise, I think in Luxembourg, most people can tell you this. In Luxembourg, it's a pretty carefree life. We have the lowest criminal rate in the whole of Europe. So you can just walk from home, you walk to the park, you go play soccer with your friends, tell them let's meet at 6, let's meet at 4, you just go, we play soccer. After that, we just walk home alone and no one really cares, no matter what age you are. So now if I look back, I think that's a great thing because I know in a lot of countries that's not possible.
Yeah.
Or when I was 6 years old, second day of school, I already walked alone to school. It was a 5-minute walk or something.
Okay.
I think that's something, now if I think back, that's something that was really great. But you don't have it in a lot of other countries.
No,
where you can,
no, the safety.
Yeah, exactly, safety, where you can just leave your kids do what they want. They just come home whenever they want. Yeah.
Great. And so at 20 years old, you were starting your own marketing company. What inspired you to do something like that so young?
I think it all started. I think when I was 13 or 14. My brother was a year younger than me, and when you had these hoverboards, you know, these things where you could stand on, and then you had these 1 foot.
Segway, is it?
Yeah.
Segway. Yeah.
Where you could go. You have 2 wheels. You go
Yes,
like this.
yes.
I remember we went on vacation to. No, they came out and it was like a really big hype all over social media and everything. That's just me. But they all cost like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 euros. I remember then we went immediately. There was a week later or 2. We went to Dubai and we went to this old market. It's called the Dubai Souk. And then we saw them there, and we saw this one person selling them for 350 euros.
Wow.
And we were like, how is this even possible? How do they do it? Then our dad, he explained to us they buy it in China on Alibaba, and they would get them for much cheaper, and then they just sell them here. And the thing is, if you sell them in the store, you need much higher margins than on this market there in Dubai.
Yeah.
So then we bought the thing from the market in Dubai, and we took that one to Luxembourg. I think we used that one as our own then. We were like, it's so cheap, we need one. So then we had one. And then what we did is we asked our dad, we looked at the website and we said, could we order them? And he said, yes, they will have his credit card. Then we ordered, I think, 8 of them.
Yeah.
We bought them for 250 each. At the time, they cost all about 1,000, 1,500.
Yeah.
And then they arrived a month later. Of course, because they come from China, it takes forever. And however, when they were there, then we on Snapchat, it was mainly Snapchat back then. We sold them to our friends all for 450. It was a good deal for them, and we made 200 profit basically off each one of them. Of course, then at the end we paid our dad the money back again. So I think that's how it started. Then it continued. I did the same thing with these electric lighters. Yeah. I bought them for €1 each in China, and I sold.
The business mind was already starting at 13, 14 years old.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then I sold them again for €12 each, and I bought them for one that was amazing profits. And after that, I think in 15, 16, I started to resell on an Instagram page. Resell Supreme Yeezys. I think most people know what it is.
Supreme Yeezy.
Supreme, Supreme, the pullovers, the brand.
Okay.
Yeezys, the shoes from Kanye West.
Yes, okay.
Where you stand in line to have to get them. And
Yes. I've done that twice. Yeah.
Really?
No.
I've done it so often.
No, okay.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were buying them on the internet and then selling them here?
At the beginning, I was buying them in store because at the beginning when they came out, it was a big hype, but you couldn't buy them in Luxembourg. And I was 15, I didn't know about bots and how to buy them on the internet because that's a whole different story. However, then the first pair came out in Luxembourg, and I told my dad, can I just camp there because I had to sleep over there? Okay. Because it was a line, and then.
So you did do the queues?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great.
At the beginning, it was the first time. It was like a line, and every 2 hours you had to go there and show that you were still in line.
Okay.
And if you weren't, they would kick you out of the line.
Okay.
So what I did was I went there and asked my dad, because the release was at 10, asked him, can I just skip the first 2 hours of school? He was like, yeah, no chance, whatever. But then, because a lot of friends of mine did it, and I said, yeah, I'm just going to go with them. Yeah. So we went there the whole night. We slept in apartments, we slept in banks and stuff. We got kicked out 2 or 3 times.
Just standing in a queue waiting to buy?
No, because you have to stand in the queue, and because it's the whole night, they say we have the queue at the beginning. Everybody puts their name in the list on what place they are. And they say next meeting is in 2 hours. Then you have one at 1, one at 3, one at 5. And in those 2 hours, we of course went sleeping somewhere and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, that was what we did. It was first time. However, I had to leave at 7:30 because I had to be in school at 8. Yeah. And then I was trying to come back in the break, but obviously there were no shoes left. My friends, there were people that said, yeah, I bought them, and I walked out of the store and somebody bought them off for me for 500, 550. Okay. So they made 300 euros and nothing. Yeah. Then I gave shit to my dad, and then he said, yeah, okay, next time you can stay there. Okay. And then there was another pair that came out then, I think a month or 2 months later. And it was beginning of December, it was just before Christmas. I said, oh, maybe I want a pair for Christmas. So I did the same thing, 1 second. Yeah, I did the same thing again. But this time I asked one friend of mine or two friends of mine to come with me. And I told them, yeah, if you get the shoes, I'll just pay you 20 euros because they weren't at all interested.
Yeah.
Told them, I'll just pay you 20 euros. And then I had like 3 tickets. However, then I got one pair, they didn't have one.
Okay.
So I got one pair and I just kept that one for myself and I wore them myself.
Yeah.
Then it was like a release every 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
And then I was the first one at one release. I came with 10 people. They all had tickets for me.
Yeah.
And I still remember everyone was looking at me like, what the fuck? However, I was the first one to ever have done that, and I got 3 or 4 pair of shoes.
Wow.
And everyone was like, and then I was walking home with 4 pair of
No
shoes, and you have to
way.
imagine everyone was looking at me like, what the fuck? How did you do it? And stuff like that. And
It's
then,
so creative, though, huh?
yeah, I don't know. I didn't really. It was just for me. It was a normal thing. It was
Okay.
like because I paid them if they got the shoes. I paid them like 20 euros, and I would make 300 euros off of each pair of shoes. So 20 euros wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I did that. I sold that, and then however, with each drop, everyone else started copying me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was then the thing was at the beginning maybe at the line there were maybe 100 people, and then if I brought another 10, we were 110. But if from those 100 people, 50 everyone brings 10,
Yeah.
then suddenly you're 500 people,
Yeah.
and the chance that you get the shoes is of course much smaller.
Yeah.
And that went on forever. Then I started buying them on the internet. They were also I needed special programs. I paid 800 euros for a program. But the good thing is because the program was limited. Now just recently, a month ago, I sold it for 2,200.
The program.
The program,
Okay.
because it's a program that buys you the things on the internet. Because if it's something released on the internet and it sells out in 5 seconds, you can't buy in cart, type in your name, address, credit card.
By the time you fill out the
It's
thing,
gone.
it's gone.
It's
Okay.
gone because everyone else has a program and the program does everything. In
So
2
people
seconds.
don't actually physically
Buy them.
wait to see it come online and then like
No,
enter your contact
you can't.
details, your
You
credit
can't.
cards,
It's
no?
impossible. It's impossible.
Oh wow,
You will never
I
get
didn't know
anything.
that. Okay.
Yeah, you will never get anything.
Okay.
So you need like these bots. They're quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent that money on a bot, and then I did that. Then at some point, because I had this Instagram page, who I think the second biggest one in Luxembourg, and at the beginning I was doing it alone, and I had people messaging me because I posted every second day or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, then you post something and you post with the price, and then you have 15 people messaging you every day. Is the price negotiable? Can you send me more pictures? And at some point, I was basically close to burnout because I couldn't look at my phone anymore.
Yeah.
Because every day I had 15 people messaging me, and then there were messages going on and on.
Yeah.
So I just didn't want to anymore. And then I had a friend that said, can we do the website? Can we do the Insta page for 2? I told him, you can resell your things on my page, because I had a quite big page. Said, but you take care of all the messages, because I said I couldn't see them anymore. I mean, then he did that, and then that worked out for some time. Then sometime I stopped because I just wasn't that interested anymore.
And so now, what kind of marketing do you do?
And now I do social media marketing.
And why choose this? Of all the things you've done, what made you choose social media marketing?
Because I think marketing has basically always interested me.
Okay.
And that's what it shows, is that it has always been Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. I think social media marketing is just like a natural evolution in that case.
Okay.
And I was always just interested in marketing, and then I read some books, I started my company, I did something for a few restaurants, just got into it more and more and more, and over time it grew and grew.
Okay.
And that's, I think, how I got started into that.
Okay. And so you still plan to finish school, right? Even though you're still going to finish school while you're running your marketing business on the side.
Exactly.
And you have time for both?
Yeah, I have time for both. That's not I don't think time is the issue. Because for me, as I always say, for me, if it's Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, or Saturday, it makes no difference to me. It's just a day. I think if I would take Saturday and Sunday where I wouldn't do anything, I think it would be much harder.
Yeah.
But on Sunday morning, I wake up at 8, I come to the office, and I do 4 or 5 hours of work or whatever, and then after that I have a game, and then in the evening, if there's something I need to do, I take out the laptop and I continue.
Okay.
That's just because I just do it. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
Because I just like doing it, so I just do it.
Okay. So it's homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
It's your business on the side.
Mm-hmm.
You play a bit of football as well, and you have a girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, it's great, no? When you start putting it down, you're like, oh, yeah, it's enough, no? You weren't thinking about that, right?
No, I wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah?
But yeah, it sounds like, I know sometimes when I talk to people, when I go visit family and stuff like that, and I talk to people, I think that it's completely normal, and people look at me like, how is that possible?
You start listening to
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And they're like, how's that possible? How do you do that? And I think it's just natural.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't really think about it.
And so you're going to finish schooling,
Mhm.
You said the marketing business, you're giving it a year.
Until September next year.
And why that time limit?
Because
the business usually just goes, or
because the thing is, I want to. Because if it doesn't work out until then I'm just gonna say I'm just gonna go study at university. I want to study marketing anyway, and then once I can come and maybe get a job for 2-3 years, and then I can try again.
Okay.
Because the thing is, I just live at home,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, I can't live at home for the next 5 years, and now I've set myself a time limit. And if it don't work until then I'm just going to university.
Okay.
And then after that, maybe 5 years later, I'll maybe start it again. Who knows?
Okay. And you said a few times that you think it's normal. How do you see yourself?
What do you think? What do you mean?
You said it's normal that you do so many.
Yeah.
You don't see the days as the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
When you see yourself not to compare better or worse, but just to look around you,
Mm-hmm.
do you see what you do is different, or how do you compare yourself to your friends and people close to you? Is there more people, more youngsters that are as driven and focused as you, or?
Because that's one thing, I've never compared myself to anyone. So I just look at myself and I just try to do what I do the best. And I know a lot of people compare, and I don't know why, because it makes no sense. But I've never compared myself to what other people do. I just think they do their life, I do my life.
Okay.
I know what they do, but I don't really care about it.
Okay.
Most of the time.
That's really admirable. Yeah. That's really good. And what's the plan for the future? What do you
mean by future? 6 months? 1 month?
Good
5
question.
years?
I asked the questions. Let's give yourself like 20 years.
20 years.
Because we know that the current future is, it's 1 year for your business, you're doing your
university.
education, and then university. So we know more or less the next year or two how it's going to go. But where do you see yourself in 20 years' time?
Well, that's quite a hard question. I never thought about that. But I think it's definitely going to be something in marketing.
Okay. In Luxembourg, or plan to travel or try something different?
That is wherever it takes me.
Okay.
Maybe Switzerland, maybe the US, I don't know.
Okay.
Can be, I know it's not going to be Germany or France, but I want the country to have something a bit special about it.
Okay.
So it's definitely maybe, who knows, can be anywhere. Can also be in the Philippines, can be anywhere.
Okay.
But I think that for kids, I definitely want kids.
Okay.
So
okay.
that's one thing.
Yeah.
And I think for kids, Luxembourg is probably one of the best countries in the world, because it's safe, everyone is happy, and it's just so easy, it's not too big. And that's maybe one thing that when I have kids, or as soon as I do, I don't know, then I'll maybe come back to Luxembourg.
Okay. And you said your mum is from America, right? Do you have any connections, family, relatives in America?
Yes, but they have a completely different life than what we do here.
But you don't see yourself going to live in America?
I would see myself live in America, but not there where my family lives, because they live in South Carolina.
Okay.
And it's just, they have a completely different life than we have, because it's, how would you say it? I was there 3-4 years ago, and it's like you open the kitchen drawer and you have a gun lying in there.
Oh no, way. Really?
That was when my brother at 13 opened the drawer. Like, the fuck, what is this?
You see a gun sitting in the kitchen,
Yeah,
in the kitchen drawer.
It's just that, it's completely different.
Okay.
Basically, I don't know, half of the family are criminals.
Oh wow.
I don't know what exactly they're doing, and it's completely different from what is here.
Okay. Did you spend any time there growing up?
No.
No. Okay, you just traveled to see that.
Yeah, just travel sometimes to go visit grandpa and stuff like that.
Okay. And I know you're only young. This is a very powerful question. It's a coaching question, but you're young still. But still, is there anything you would say to your younger self, even younger? Because I know you're 20.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you look back when you were like 10 years old and think?
No, there's something when I was 16 years old.
What is that? Okay, let's go there. Let's do that.
When I made 1,500 on the weekend selling shoes, what I would tell myself is, don't waste that money on buying clothes.
So don't waste 1,500 euros made on a weekend
made on one
buying clothes.
Yeah, because back then when I was 15, 16, I was making really a lot of money.
So nearly every weekend you're making like 1,500.
No, that was not. That was the best weekend, but I was making per month 1,000 to 2,000. That was a regular month.
And a lot of that money went on clothes.
Clothes, going out, just the typical wasting. I don't even know. I was sitting at home one day, and a friend of mine came over. This is ridiculous, but that's how much money I actually made. And we had to wait for someone else to come, and we were so bored. And I had the money in cash at home, and I had every not dollar bill, euro bill.
Yeah.
I had every euro bill at home. So what we did is we made airplanes out of each one from 5 to 500, and we threw them like that around my room. It was so ridiculous. Now when I think back to it, I'm like, what the fuck was even happening?
And what do you feel was happening then? What, if you can sit now and think that you would change that, what was happening then? What was your relation to money at 16 to now?
There was no relation. I didn't, because I purely did it for the fun. I didn't really care about the money that much, and that's why for me money it just always came. I didn't really think about it, but I was just doing whatever I liked.
So what's different now? Why do you look back and think, well, I wouldn't spend it so much?
Because
if it's
I could have made some good investments in that case,
okay.
and I could have probably doubled the money by now.
Okay.
If I would have kept, I would have been now maybe 15, 20, 30,000 euros. I don't know.
So advice to your younger self?
Keep more money
Keep
and
that,
invest
don't
it. Invest it, yeah.
Okay.
And because I had problems with going to the bank, because my dad told me, Ian, you can only put in 5,000 because he's an accountant. Said if you go, I think it was more than, if you go over 10,000 in cash to the bank in a 3-month period, they will start asking questions and stuff like that. Because, and I had these types of issues, was really bad. Also, when I went to the postal office, because they had a credit card at the postal office, because they were the only ones allowed. And there was I went there 3 weeks in a row, and every week I went there with 800 euros. The guys were already starting to look at me like he's a drug dealer or stuff like that. Yeah. That's, yeah.
Okay. And now, what's your, I know you have a vision for university, for your marketing course, but as a person, what inspires you? What are your values and what are your principles in life?
You mean like daily principle, like?
And who makes you, like, what's important to you?
What I would say is important is don't be lazy, so do something, be disciplined.
Yeah.
And try to use your phone as less as possible.
Okay.
Be disciplined. Basically, I would say, yeah, that's how I would put it. As long as you're happy and you're disciplined, everybody can do whatever they want. And you don't obviously hurt anyone else in the process of doing so.
Okay.
But that's the only 2 values where I see that are the most important. Be happy with what you do and be disciplined in what you do.
Okay. And how is it like in Luxembourg? Do you see yourself becoming like a politician or
maybe when I'm 50, but that's that's more than 30
because
years away.
With these values, I mean, it's a good thing to bring to the system. No,
yeah.
No.
It is, but I think politician, you don't just become a politician. Nowadays, you need to be there for longer, you need to talk to everyone, and all that kind of stuff no one wants to do. I mean, you basically have to want to be a politician to actually become a politician. You don't have to be someone who wants to change things, something for better.
Okay. And in terms of your environment, like, how do you want to contribute to that?
What do you mean by environment?
To Luxembourg, to Bonnevoie, to is there anything you want to change or improve or?
If I now were to become a politician?
No, just you and now. Like, do you see yourself like becoming part of the community, or I know you play football.
Yeah.
How do you bring people together? Do you work on that, or is
No, I don't work on that at all. There's a few things where I think that you must. The only thing, but it's not something I don't have the power or people that I know to do that. But there are 3-4 things. I mean, school is basically, I would change everything, but there are, in my opinion, 2-3 things.
What would you mean about you change everything in school?
Because school, how it is now, is, I don't know, how would you say, unnecessary.
Okay.
Makes everyone unhappy. I don't know anyone who likes going to school.
Really?
No. So that I think.
What's the problem with school? Or what do you feel is the reason for that?
That everything we learn, for example, now our French book for this year that we have, that French book has been in the program for over 80 years now. And what I mean is we learn stuff from the 18th century basically, and that has nothing to do with what we have to do today. And what you learn is you don't really choose. You can choose. I think when you're 16, you can choose a little bit in what direction you go, but you still have like 10 topics, and half of them at least you don't even want them, but you still have to like succeed in them.
So you reckon that the school system is a little bit obsolete?
It is completely.
Yeah.
The only reason I finished it is because if you want to go to university, you have to do it. And because my dad wants me to finish it.
Okay. But you specifically, if you had a choice, you don't believe in it.
No.
Okay.
Not, at least not the high school part.
Okay. How would you change it?
The high school.
What, in your opinion, would be valuable for schooling? Like, how would you improve it?
How would I improve it? I would basically teach things you actually need. Because I know in technique, I explained that with you have to three levels basically, but in technique, when you go to high school technique, you learn things that you actually need. For example, they have like typing, where they close off your computer screen and they put like a towel over your head.
Oh, wow.
And then the test is somebody is dictating the thing and you have to write the thing without knowing what you're typing. At the end, they see how many mistakes you made, and that's how you do it. That's something, in my opinion, that you need. Or how you do a tax return, that's something you also learn there, you don't learn in our school. And that are like two things where I think that is something that you actually need, what they teach you in school. Then what a lot of people say is like something about financial education. So if somebody would have told me that, I wouldn't have wasted all my money.
Yeah, it's true.
And I've had to read some books to actually learn that. And I think if that could be 10 hours a year, that would be more than sufficient because it's not that hard. It's only a very simple concept. And it's not that hard to explain it. Only 10 hours a year would be more than sufficient, but nobody ever talks about that. And what I notice is the more you read about how basically financial education, and then you listen to what they say in school, it's the complete opposite. In school, they tell you take out a loan. Our teacher said this. I was shocked when I heard that. She said, "Yeah, now the interest rates are low, so I would take out the loan to buy a car." I was like, that makes no sense. Why would you take out a loan to buy a car? So you just have to pay more money. I would say you take out a loan, you buy a house, you get rent, and that then pays you. See, and that's just, they don't think about that. And nobody ever tells you that in school. That's what I mean.
Because that's a common trend here. I'm going to speak specifically here because we live here.
Yeah.
But you do notice a lot of people take out loans for, and I also learned that the banks give you money for stuff like cars, easily.
Yes.
More than maybe for a house. Is that why that is like that? Yeah.
I don't know. They'll have to ask somebody who has actually done it, because I've never asked.
You don't believe in it?
I don't believe in taking out a loan to buy a TV, not at all, no.
Okay.
That's just people who want to.
And you reckon that's bad education? It's from the educational system that people are taught this?
Yeah, I think so. Because it says in the books, when the interest rates are low, then you should consume more.
It's in the
Yeah, because then you should consume more, because the thing is, then you're paying less. Because if you take out a loan for a car when the interests are high, then basically you're paying more for your car. So they tell you when interest
you're always paying more because you're paying interest.
Of course, you're always.
So it doesn't.
Yeah, in the first thing, why would you even buy a car if you already have one?
Yeah.
That's where it starts, I think.
What's behind that thinking? Why do you feel that is? Because it's a big thing, no?
What do you mean a big thing?
I think it's a worldwide thing, but if you're speaking here, a lot of people would take out a loan to buy a car.
Yeah.
When you could maybe save up and buy a cheaper car. Is it image? Is it the teaching? Or what's behind it?
Image, competition. Maybe I just want a nice car. I don't really know why people are doing it.
Okay.
But I see a lot of people doing it, but I don't know why. But also my dad, as he says, he has a lot of clients that earn 300, 250, 500,000 a year. At the end of the year, the bank account says zero because they buy a new car for themselves, for the wife, golf club for the kids, and all these kinds of things. At the end of the year, there's nothing left, no matter how much they earn.
Wow, it's incredible. And so you reckon if the education system was different, it would help a lot, right?
I think so, it would.
Okay.
But that's only 10 hours a year would be more than enough. That's not even the education system, it's just 10 hours a year, which is nothing in my opinion.
Okay. And what else do you feel you would change to the education system?
I would change that teachers can't be kicked out. Because right now teachers can do whatever they want, they can't be kicked out in school.
So you would change that they can be kicked out?
Exactly, they can be kicked out.
So you feel like I don't know, but once you're a teacher in Luxembourg, you can almost do anything
you can't lose your job, it's impossible.
Really?
Yeah, it's impossible.
Why is that?
Because then you're like employed by the government, and once you're employed by the government, as long as you don't leave, they can't kick you out. Except when you kill someone or something like that, but in your normal job, you can basically do what you want.
And why would you change that? What experience do you have that makes you feel you would change that?
Just that teachers, because they know they're invincible, they know they can do whatever they want. It's like, imagine you go work at a company, let's say you go work at Apple, and Apple has the rule, you can't be kicked out, basically no matter what you do. So what, you sit at the desk, you look at the stars a bit, you walk around, you don't do anything, you don't even come on time, or some days you don't come because you don't feel well, or whatever, you want to go visit family somewhere and you just don't come because you can't be kicked out. And I think that's just too much the attitude. And then some teachers are like, oh, I like this person more than the other one, so I'll just be nice to that one and to the next.
And you've seen favoritism like that?
Yeah, everywhere, everyone has seen that. It's like a normal thing. I think that's just because they can't be kicked out. And there's no one controlling the teachers, they don't have anyone controlling them. Oh, that's coronavirus.
No problem.
No, the teachers, they don't have anyone controlling them because how should they be controlled, basically? You can't. That means they can, it's not, they don't start punching people or stuff like that, that's not what they do. But I mean, if they come late or you forget your homework, then they're like, why didn't you do your homework? It's just annoying and unnecessary.
And that's very interesting. I didn't know that about the education system, but maybe one day it'll change.
Who knows? I don't think so.
Once you're a politician.
But I know because a lot of people and teachers, I don't think teachers get too much money. Compared to other countries, they do. They are paid more than double what you get in Germany, France, and stuff like that. But I think teachers should earn a lot of money because what they do is very important. But the thing is, now I know a lot of people at my age, they just say, I'll just become a teacher. Basically, they have no clue what they want to do. They just become a teacher. You can't be kicked out. You earn when you start 3,000-4,000 a month. At the end, I think maximum salary is like 90,000 a month, a year. And it's just easy money. You work 22 hours a week. You don't do anything. You can come late. If you have a problem with your kids, you stay home. No one cares. And a lot of people just want to become a teacher just because of that. Then after that, it of course reflects in your actual school.
So it affects the kids a lot.
I think it affects some kids more than others. It's not everyone is the same. Because you have some kids that then can't study or they need extra help and stuff, and the teacher like, why should I stay an hour longer? I'm not paid for that. I mean, that's what teachers tell you. Teachers come in class, they say, I'm paid to be here from 8 to 8:50. If you guys don't listen, I don't care, I'll just go home. That's just how it is.
And just before we come to our close, what advice would you give to anybody at your age and wanting to do better with their life, or even younger people? What advice would you give?
What define better? What does better mean?
They want to be inspired. They want to do their own thing. To be an entrepreneur. To be self-confident. To get out of a rut. No plan, no vision, no ambition.
I would say just do something. Whatever it is you do, just do something. Just start. Can be the stupidest idea. Even if you're not making any money, even if you're basically paying money to do something, doesn't matter. Your parents.
So doing something gives you inspiration.
Just do something. Because if you do something, then you see more. You just do something, and then suddenly you see left, you see right, and then suddenly you see much more. So even if 3 months you're paying something to do something, even if it's your parents paying, just ask them. If you're young, if you're like 15, they'll. If you do something productive and they see that it's something that will actually help you, I know a lot of parents won't do it, but I also know a lot of would then just pay you 200 a month, and then I don't know, maybe you do how do you call it? Marketing, where you get things and you try to sell them to other people. I mean, there are a lot of things. That was a timer, so you can cut that. So you just do something, whatever it is, and you just try to do it. And you don't care about what other people say, because I mean, when I started, I still remember funniest thing ever. When I started marketing, and I told my classmates, Ian, it's not gonna work. stay, at least finish school. I'm finishing, but just stay in class.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna work. And then suddenly I was making 3,000 a month, and they were like, oh, what's happening? So what I mean is just don't listen, just do whatever you want. I mean, it's not, they're still my best friends, I still go out with them, I want to go visit them at university, just I have a different opinion, but that doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
That's great. So just trust yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
Follow your heart, and if you want to try something, try something. Right?
Exactly, just do something. At the end of the day, your friends won't just leave because you do something.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. This is Ian.